Welcome back, fellow resin heads and kit builders, to the Figure Kit Garage. Brent Krug back with another out-of-the-box review. This piece is a 3D printed kit titled The Punisher, Hell-Bent on Death. Now, I know there are a lot of folks out there that question the validity of some 3D printed kits that are out there, that they're taken off of scans of original sculpts or statues or whatnot, 3D printed and sold as kits. This is not the case with the Punisher. This kit was based on the original artwork, of Michel Ballares Rodriguez, who goes by Creative Geek MB on Facebook. The seller on eBay that goes by the handle Resin in the Attic obtained permission from Michael, and I contacted both to make sure that this was indeed the case. He contacted Michael to get permission to print this up as a kit and sell it on eBay. And Michael fully endorsed this, which was kind of a surprise when I got the message back that he absolutely loves seeing stuff like this done for people to enjoy. So this is a kit that is definitely worth the price that I paid. It was $185.20, $175 plus $15.20 shipping. It's done in 23 3D resin printed pieces, and the base is done in FDM monofilament plastic. And I'll give you an idea how good Michael's artwork is. I'm going to show you the original work that this is based on. I hope you guys can see that okay. The Punisher, Hell-Bent on Death. It's just an amazing piece. Museum pose, basically. But he's got all the bells and whistles, which is an understatement. Grenades, Desert Eagle, shotgun, M60, tactical knee pads and fingerless gloves, and of course the Molly tactical vest with the Punisher logo, which does not come printed on this kit. I'm going to have to paint that separately. But, you know, really, really beautiful artwork. And as you'll see, the translation from the two-dimensional art to the 3D printed kit was done really well. Of course, with any 3D printed kit, there's going to be some give and take. Not everything is going to fit 100% perfect exactly. I ordered this on the 19th of February, and Michael messaged me, Resin in the Attic messaged me and let me know that he would get it shipped out on Monday or Tuesday, because I know back on the East Coast they're having a hell of a lot of bad times with heavy snow kicking in late in the winter. He shipped it out on Monday and arrived on Wednesday. So shipping wise, you're not going to hear me complain about anything. I thought this was going to get here on Thursday or even later. It wound up practically a day early. But we're going to begin taking a look at all these pieces, and I am going to try and test fit this for you guys. I've already done it once when I first got it, and it's a pretty impressive kit. Overall, when this thing is fully put together, it stands right at a little over 13 inches in height. So for a 1/7 scale kit with this much detail, for that height and a relatively small footprint, it's not that big in the base. So we'll take a look at the base first. And as you can see the printing lines. I picked up some wood putty today from Walmart that I'm going to use to fill all this stuff in. And for those of you who are watching this that have never done a 3D print, yeah, there's going to be some pretty heavy prep work involved and stuff like this. It just comes with the territory. I've done one other 3D print with a Gambit that I reviewed about 2 years ago or a year ago or so. And there was a little bit of cleanup work on that, but the base translated really, really beautifully. Camera does not want to focus again. There we go. You know, all the cracks. And then, of course, what it wouldn't be the Punisher without that beautiful skull logo on the back. Just really, really nicely rendered. And across the top, pegs for the feet, and then all the brass casings laying around. God only knows how many people he shot with that many casings laying around, but you never can tell with the Punisher. And all together, this thing is 5 3/4 inches across, a little over 5 3/4 inches across, side to side, front to back, 5 1/4 inches. That's a small footprint for a 1/7 scale kit. Not every kit of that size and scale has a footprint like that. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room. So now, along with the base, you get these beautiful little statues that adorn it. The Angel of Death, as it were, with the wreath of roses. A little bit of flash from the printing process that I'll have to clean out underneath the tip of the jaw, but nothing really major. But just really beautiful, nicely rendered, and that will fit. And I'll put these base pieces on here as I go. Fit right in the front. Will need to be modified just a little bit, but not very much. It's got a pretty good fit. And then the first of 2 angels that will sit on either side of the death figure. And these are just absolutely beautiful. Nice feather detail, not over detailed or under detailed. The detailing down underneath the little pedestal, really, nice scroll work put in there. The hair detail in the angel. This came out really gorgeous. And the crazy thing about this print is that when Resin in the Attic contacted me, because I had asked about the the cleanup and everything, he pretty much did all the cleanup work on the 3D printed resin pieces. That's not something you're going to see every day. A lot of times they'll alcohol or acetone wash these things, sand them down as best they can, then get them on their way to the customer. But this seller really did an amazing job cleaning these things up. I haven't found maybe but one area, and I believe that was on one of the angels. Actually, no, it was on the death in the front. A little bit of print line that's residual from the process. But other than that, the Punisher is completely clean. I can pretty much primer this thing and just start painting. But I'm going to take my time with it and make sure I look for everything, because you never know. As soon as you think you're done, you find something you missed. It never fails. And there's angel number 2. Just really beautiful. Angel and the child. Featherwork's really gorgeous, and on the back, you can kind of see the featherwork along the backside, really lightly done. Just really beautiful representation of sculpture. And they'll fit just like that. And then we have the 2 pylons or supports that go in with the base, and they'll sit. Oh. Watch what I'm doing. Just like that, and they'll have to be glued and puttied in along the sides. They're not going to stand by themselves, but that's okay. Every kit has its unique flair, and this is one of them. I'll probably spend way more time on the base prepping it than I will on the Punisher himself, except for the putty work that I'll have to do on him. And now we're going to get to the big man, Francis Castiglione, or Frank Castle for those of you who don't know who that is, as he is a Italian that wound up becoming a Marine that wound up becoming the Punisher after his family was murdered. And we'll start off with the portrait on this, and really beautifully rendered. Some of the 3D support struts are going to have to be sanded off, but that won't be very much of a problem. As I said, this was prepped so well that print line resolution problems are not going to be a factor. The buzz cut hair detail on the side, really impressive. Detail at the top of the hair. Yeah, that's a guy you don't piss off in a dark alley. End of story. And I don't know if I'm going to do the Punisher mask on his face like what was done in the artwork. I might not. Kind of on the fence about it either way. But other than that, the portrait looks fantastic. And we're going to look at the jacket and the vest. All the Molly gear, patches, the pouches in the front, pockets in the front, and pouches. And the field jacket and the wrinkles just really well done. And this is where the M60 is going to sit across his back. Just really slick. I don't think doing the Punisher skull on that vest is going to be a challenge. I'm actually looking forward to doing it. And then the right and left arms for the field jacket. And again, no cleanup work. Beautifully prepped. Minor support post sanding, but that'll be blink of an eye if anything. That won't take me very long. There will be some putty work along the seam lines for the arms for blending, but that won't be that bad. And I love the fact that I can actually paint this thing in sub-assemblies, because the belt came as a totally separate piece, and there are side holes for these separate pouches that will fit in just like that. But to do this in sub-assemblies like this is going to make it so much easier to render, it's ridiculous. I can even do the same thing with the hands and the boots. Now, I've already done a little bit of sanding on the bottom side trying to get the belt to fit. I may have to do a little bit more, but it won't be that bad. It's negligible workaround. And then the fatigue pants and the tactical knee pads. I mean, this almost reminds me of Ray Stevenson's Punisher more than Thomas Jane or John Bernthal's. But the fatigue pants, really, really well done. I think the Ray Stevenson Punisher was one of my favorites of the three. Just because the level of violence in that movie was just ridiculously off the charts. All the stitching down the side. And there's two little holes for these two little crowd-pleasing noisemakers to fit in just like that. Oops. Give me 1 second while I look for that hand grenade. There it is. Whew. Glad the pins are still in, I think. But they will fit in just like so. Gluing those in won't be a problem. And then his tactical boots came out really cool. Lots of detail around the sides and the back. And then the tread on the bottom came out really, really good. And then the hole in the heel for where he sits on the base. But just totally kick-ass rendition of the Punisher. And there's the other boot. Never done a Punisher kit in all these years, and I finally got one, and I'm looking forward to this. But this kit is just insane on its detail. And then the M60 was printed in 3 separate pieces. And I'm probably going to have to do a little modification to the shoulder strap that keeps us over his back. But this translated really well from, into the 3D print. Not a lot of cleanup. That's part of the shoulder harness. Printed in 2 halves. It's solid. It's not hollow in any way, shape, or form. Right down to the flip up side on top of the, right at the top of the chamber housing. So the detail is definitely kept in on this kit. Shoulder strap that will attach. And that's about the only nitpick I have on that is the shoulder strap printed straight up and down and then kind of curved towards the top. I'm going to have to sand it down, heat it up, hot water probably, and then kind of form it and push it in, because at the top of his jacket it actually has an indentation where that's going to fit in. So I'm going to have to form that around, or if it doesn't work, I'll probably come up with an alternative to use instead of that. It's not the printer's fault. It's just the way these 3D prints work sometimes. You can't avoid it. They're not perfect. So we're going to take a look at his left hand with the hand cannon Desert Eagle firmly in the grip, and they did the tactical hard knuckle fingerless gloves. Real beautiful detail. And has a little Picatinny rail on the underside for laser sight add-ons. Really kick-ass detail. I love this. Just amazingly well done. And then it wouldn't be a Punisher without a 12-gauge shotgun. Sawed off, of course. Again, tactical gloves, hard knuckles. Even got the feed ramp printed in. This is just too cool. And the barrel is pointed at the tip end for a reason. And when you see it, this is one of the reasons why I decided to jump on this. Was lately there's been a few, I think there's been 2 quarter scale pre-painted statues that have done this. And Michael also did this, and it translated beautifully. But this will add on here. Let me get this into focus. The smoke from the shotgun barrel forming into the Punisher skull. This kit was too good to pass up. Sorry about the camera shake, just because of that. So you're pointing straight down with the smoke coming up. You got to admit that's just cool as hell. You just can't deny it. So I'm going to take some of these pieces. Now the base I've already got fitted together. I won't try to test fit the M60 on him, but I am going to test fit everything else. And up until, I think it was Thomas Jane's Punisher, I hit the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. To a lot of people is kind of a blasphemy to the character, because it really didn't do it much justice. Thomas Jane's Punisher did a really good job of translating the character. Ray Stevens, I think, was the closest to the more violent side of the Punisher, and then John Bernthal's Punisher was just dead on the mark combination of them both. So everybody has their favorite version of the Punisher. Comics wise, I was never crazy about the black outfit with the white boots and the white gloves and the white belt. It just looked kind of goofy to me. But that's just me. To each his own. And I will say no more on that. So I'm going to take my trusty Quake Putty and pray this stuff holds. And the belt's going to have a really nice fit. The gap is because of the putty, so it's nothing I can do about that. And I'll get some of this wrapped around these foot pegs. just a little bit. Yeah, Resin in the Attic has quite a few 3D printed kits, originals, and some with the permission of the artist. He also has some regular resin kits out of his own collection that he's got up for grabs. Give him a look, check him out, see what he's got. You might find that Grail kit. You never can tell. Avoid buying recasts. And while I'm on the subject, while I'm putting this thing together, touch on that note a little bit real quick. Within the last week, the subject of recasting and 3D printed STL and 3D printing and STL files has come under fire a lot. I was going to do a separate video on recasting, but after talking to a few people that have been in this hobby for a while and getting some really good insight on the subject of recasting, I'm just going to touch on it while I'm doing this, because I don't want to give recasters a big amount of spotlight. I'm giving them free plugs. Not going to happen. Not here. No way. If you're looking for a particular kit, there are multiple groups on Facebook that can help you find them. The Clubhouse forums is a good place to find all original pieces because they have a policy. No recasts are allowed to be sold, promoted, or otherwise. There are legitimate sellers on Facebook and eBay. I know John Diaz has sold some on eBay. As a matter of fact, he's got the reissue of the Coleman Designs Incredible Hulk. You know, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this thing's has like a 13-inch wide stance, and he's friggin' huge. John is a legitimate seller. David Diaz is a legitimate seller. Monsters in Motion, although that's been debated, they still have really good kits. Mark Worthling, Paul Gill, George Stevenson from Blackheart Models, who within the last week ran afoul of a recast that referred to recasting as healthy competition. Healthy competition. Not. You know, it's one of those things, just support original producers and original pieces. There's no reason to pad someone's wallet looking for a kit. Don't let the cheap price fool you. It's buyer beware. You're going to get what you pay for. Trust me. It happens every single time. If you think you're going to get high quality, you're not. 3D printing, as I said, has been a hot topic of debate. A lot of people think it's going to be the downfall of the hobby. I think some good kits are going to come out of it. Some people openly support 3D printed kits, some don't. This is only the second one that I've actually bought 3. My Poison Ivy, unfortunately, met with a very grim fate. I wound up dropping her on the garage floor, and I didn't realize how brittle 3D printed resin can be, and she went in every single direction the moment she hit. So the Poison Ivy kit, I appreciate the amount of people that have viewed that video. I had over 1,800 views since I had that kit, and unfortunately, she's never going to see the light of day. She, like I said, she hit and went in all directions at one time. I won't always buy 3D prints. I do support guys like Jeff Yeager and Trevor Grove and Joe Simon, Joe Ladotti, John Dennett, and all these guys that have been in this hobby for years, Mike Hill, that have done some of the most amazing kits. And you got to kind of ask yourself if you want something that was done on a computer or if you want something that was done with someone's hands and someone's heart. They pour everything they got into it. And it's to each his own. I'm not going to always buy every 3D printed kit that I see. This one, it definitely tripped my trigger because I've never built a Punisher kit, and most of the quarter scale pieces that I always see either listed on Facebook or somebody's doing a work in progress on one, I can't afford the $1,500 for that thing. I just can't, and I'm not going to take out a bank loan for a model kit. That and the fact I don't have the room and my workbench is not big enough for one of those things. So, it's just a personal preference for most people. For me, I'll stick with resin, I'll stick with vinyl, and I'll stick with the plastic kits. But like I said, this kit really, really hit me the right way. I'm thinking about asking Michael if he's doing prints of his artwork, because I'd love to have a print of this thing to go along with it. I think that'd be a really cool idea. Now, the head may look a little bit on the small side, but that was done deliberately. As I understand, Michael did it because of how you see Marvel Comics sometimes do the Incredible Hulk with the unbelievably misproportioned body and then a little tiny head. This is kind of the same way, but it's not off by very much. So, and just the angle of his look, yeah, he looks pissed. So, and if anybody has questions about where to get good, original pieces, feel free to ask. Figure model kits on Facebook, as well as Gilman's Garage, Typhon Studios Insider, Resin Maniacs. There's kits all over the place that you can get your hands on. And if there's a kit out there that's been out of production for a while, and you find one on eBay that's an original, or you think is an original, but you're not sure, just ask one of us. It's all you got to do. Simply ask somebody that's been in this hobby for a while. They will recognize whether or not that kit's an original piece. And if they don't know, then they can find somebody that will know. There's always someone out there that knows. And if you find that piece, or you hear about that piece that you want that bad, there's an old-fashioned way of getting it. Save up for it and wait. Case in point, I chased down the Horizon Resin Joker for 3 years before I ever got my hands on it. 3 years. That's a long time. Virginia chased down the Volks Lady Slave for 10 years. And a gentleman on Facebook was selling off a large portion of his collection, and he had every one of the Volks Soriyama kits that had ever been produced by Volks out of Japan. They're no longer in business. And he was selling it for a really reasonable price. He could have been asking for, $1,000 or so, or $800-900. She got it for $400. For that particular kit, you can't beat that at all. $400 for an original, unbuilt Volks Soriyama Lady Slave. And I did a review on that a couple years back. And then I think the longest one for me was The Keeper of Time by Carl Sanders. That piece has been out of production for the longest time. I think 1 or 2 recasts may have shown up over the years. I can't remember the exact number. And then out of the blue, a few years back, Carl was gracious enough to reissue it, and I got my hands on it. I first saw that piece back in 2003 at Imagination Expo, and I waited 14 years to get a copy of that piece. Sometimes the chase is worth the capture, believe me. So now he is all put together. I'm going to take my phone out, so please pardon the bumping. Start at the bottom. smoke off that shotgun is just too cool. The Punisher, hell-bent on death. Went better together this time than he did the last time. I definitely want to thank Resin in the Attic and Michel Rodriguez for making this piece and allowing this piece to happen. This thing is incredible. When I get the chance, I think I'm going to finally do a work in progress video. I'm working on one project now, but I think I might start on this one and do this as a work in progress. I think it'd be a lot of fun to do. So as I said, check out Resin in the Attic on Facebook. It does have a lot of original pieces. Sorry I can't get a better angle on him. The last thing you see before you die. The Punisher. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed recently. Thank you for keeping the Figure Kit Garage up and running. Wouldn't happen without you guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, social distance, support original sculptors, original pieces, and original producers. The Figure Kit Garage will not ever knowingly buy, build, review, or sell recasts of other people's original artwork. Yeah, the Kurt Russell head was an original sculpt that I bought off a guy down in City of Industry. It is not recasted off Sideshow. I've already had that questioned. That's completely different. The Sideshow face was a little bit different. He tried to improve it and he decided to just give up on it. I bought it from him to paint flesh tones on. That's not recasted. My daughter has a Pennywise head back there for a custom 1/6 scale figure from Gabe Marquez. That's an original piece that he sculpted. We got that at Monsterpalooza. Support original producers. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. Build a kit.